Hey everyone, so we're back again with the second portion of the new hire orientation. So in this portion, we're just going to go over pretty much your interaction with the customers in this one, and then also in the next training as well. So okay service versus exceptional service. So when you think of okay service, what I think of typically is like McDonald's, where whether you go through the drive-through or whether you go inside, they just get the job done. They may not be the most pleasant people that you deal with. They may not go out of their way, to make a hamburger or, your French fries or whatnot look incredible. So you just get the basics from McDonald's. Exceptional service is like Chick-fil-A, where they stand outside to take your order. They always say thank you, and they're always just very pleasant with you, inside or outside of the restaurant itself. The drive-through, they're always, very nice to you. If they forget something, they typically tend to add extra to it. So they're always just on top of their game all of the time. So in your quiz that you'll need to take after this, one of the questions will be for you to give an example of okay versus exceptional service aside from the example I just used. So we are going to take a look at the Ritz-Carlton as an example.
The Ritz-Carlton brand is synonymous with luxury and a high level of customer service. Horst Schulze is the co-founder and the former president of the Ritz-Carlton Hotel Company, and now the author of the new book, Excellence Wins, a no-nonsense guide to becoming the best in a world of compromise. He joins us now. So your book is about how any leader really in any industry can succeed by caring for people, kind of customer service, which the Ritz brand is known for. But it sounds really expensive as well to have good customer service.
Not at all. Caring doesn't cost any. In fact, that's the one thing that doesn't cost anything. And it is simply to care for the customer, to understand the customer, to pay attention to your market segment, align your employees to the segment, to your vision, your dream. Don't hire employees to work for you. Hire them to join you, to be part of a vision, of a dream. Make them part, truly align them. The buzzword in life is alignment. What does it really mean?
You said it doesn't cost anything, but it does if you want to be able to recruit them and join you versus the competitor who is paying $15 versus $13. I feel like it ends up always becoming an economic question, because if you do want to lure in the top talent, you have to pay more, right?
Not really. You have to treat them right and respect them and honor them as human beings, not hire them to fulfill a function like the chair in which you're sitting is fulfilling a function. Hire them to be part of a purpose. Give them a purpose. Give them belonging. I opened about 50 Ritz-Carlton hotels. Each one in many countries became a leader in their market segment. We didn't pay more, but we never became a union, for example. They picked us in San Francisco for 3 years. We didn't become union. We didn't pay more, but we made sure that they felt part of something. They were part of a vision. Even Aristotle said that people need to be part of a purpose. Why wouldn't we offer a purpose to people? So, and the people, if they're right and want to do the job, are nice to the people whom we serve. And that niceness creates eventually loyalty, which doesn't cost anything.
Now, I think in the tech industry now, we hear a lot about purpose with your work, but I guess, how do you feel like the message maybe gets warped in the corporate world? Because I look at, hospitality as a space where people go get their MBA, they come into your hotel, they say, here's how you need to maximize revenue per room, and they don't really care who works there. So to you, through your career, how did you feel like you tried to keep that message of having meaning with your work and not let it get sort of twisted for the modern age, which I feel like it has?
Well, the way business works today, and works for a long time, is that the applause that you get as the leader is the money you made on the bottom line. So consequently, the concentration becomes that money, becomes cost-cutting rather than efficiency, rather than concentrating on the stuff that makes money. And that includes great service and attention to the customer. For example, with Ritz-Carlton and with Capella later, we developed 20 points, which I knew if those 20 things, if I do them superior to the competition, I will have more occupancy and can charge more. So we concentrated on the things that created customer loyalty and consequently the bottom line superior to our competition who didn't concentrate on it.
The world is changing so fast. Technology is a part of it, and hotels. I read that you said when we started Ritz-Carlton, if a customer waited more than 4 minutes to check in, he was upset. Today, it's 20 seconds.
That's right.
How does hospitality keep up with the frictionlessness that we expect now as customers?
By the way, it's not only hospitality.
Yeah,
It's all customer service, all customer attention. As soon as we serve somebody or have a customer, we're in hospitality, in my opinion. Yes, we have to understand that timeliness has become extremely important. While in the past 30 years ago or so, when we started Ritz-Carlton, we didn't really concentrate on the processes that take time out of the process and on attention. Today we have to concentrate on it. We have to say, all right, what is the process so I can do it faster? That's where technology comes in, of course, and helps dramatically in those areas. But the human contact is still the one that drives satisfaction and eventually loyalty more than anything else does, even more than the product itself.
The book is Excellence Wins, a no-nonsense guide to becoming the best in a world of compromise. Horst Schulze, nice book. Thanks so much for coming in and talking to us.
Thank you. It's nice to be with you.
Thank you.
So that pretty much speaks for itself. So here is another important video that you guys do need to watch.
See, I moved to Denver, Colorado back in 1987. In 1988, I bought a house in an area of town called Washington Park. Bought an old 1928 bungalow. Now, I was single at the time, living alone. I did not get married till I was 37 years old. By the way, if you're older and never been married, do you not get really tired of people asking you that stupid question? How come you're 35, never been married? How come you're 36, never been married? Let me give you a way to respond to people to shut them up. When people would say to me, how come you're 35, never been married? I used to say, I'm just not ready to make that 2 to 3 year commitment. They never asked again. However, when I got married, my wife Darla said, don't ever tell that joke again, and I don't. So, but I used to. And so I'm single, I'm living alone in my new old house there in Washington Park. I've been there about 2 days. There's a knock on the front door. I open the front door and standing there is a relatively short fellow, about 5'1", 5'2", 105 pounds, pencil-thin mustache, blue uniform, carrying a bag. He says, good morning, Mr. Sanborn. My name is Fred. I am your postman. I just stopped by to say welcome to the neighborhood and introduce myself and find out a little bit about you and what you do for a living. Now, I've been receiving mail all of my adult life. I can't ever recall getting a personal introduction to my postal carrier, but I thought it was a nice touch. I said, Fred, thanks for stopping by. I said, I am a professional speaker. I do not have a real job. Fred said, well, that's important for me to know. If you're a speaker, you probably travel a lot. I said, yeah, I'm on the road a couple hundred days a year. He said, great. If you'll just give me your calendar so that I know when you're in town. I'll hold your mail for you, I'll bundle it, and I'll only deliver it on the days that you're here to receive it. Now, I never had a choice a la carte mail service before either. I said, Fred, that's probably not necessary. I've got a box nailed right here by the door on the side of the house. Why don't you just leave the mail in the box? I'll pick it up when I get back into town. Fred said, oh, Mr. Sanborn, let me point out in this neighborhood, as in most, when your box is full of mail, the burglars know you're out of town and you might be robbed. He said, here's what I'd recommend instead. He said, I'll be glad to put mail in your box as long as the lid closes. That way nobody will know that you're gone. Any mail that doesn't fit in your box, I'll put in between the screen door and the front door. Nobody can see it there. And if that area becomes too full of mail, I'll hold the rest of your mail for you until you come back into town. Now, Fred is more worried about my mail than I am. But I figure he is the postal professional. I say, okay, Fred, let's try that. A couple weeks later, I'm coming back from a trip. Now, as I'm unlocking the front door, I notice my doormat is missing. My front porch is half the size of this riser. I look around on my front porch, I see my doormat's in the corner, but it's covering something. Here's what had happened. UPS had misdelivered a box of mine 5 doors down, left my box on somebody else's porch. Lucky for me, Fred the postman was on the job. Fred saw my box on the wrong porch, picked up this heavy box, carried it down to my porch, put it in the corner, wrote a personal note of explanation on it, then tried to disguise it with a doormat so nobody would take it. Not only is Fred delivering the mail, now he's picking up slack for UPS. First time I told this story in LA, a guy comes up at the end of the speech. He said, "Now be honest, were you talking about the United States Postal Service? Or does Denver have their own?" I said, "No, unbelievably, this is the USPS." That first Christmas, 1988, I leave a little gift in the box for Fred. I'm grateful for his tremendous service. Next day that mail gets delivered, I have an unusual letter in my mail. See, the letter has a stamp on it, but the stamp's not canceled. I see from the return address, the letter is from Fred Shea, my postal carrier. See, Fred lives in North Glen. I lived in Denver. Fred knows it is a felony to put unposted mail in a box. So even though he carried the letter from his house to my house, he still put a stamp on just to keep it legal. So after I cut the stamp off, I read the letter. The letter says, "Dear Mr. Samwin, thank you for remembering me at Christmas. I'm flattered that you talk about me in your speeches and seminars. I hope I can continue to provide exceptional service. Sincerely, Fred the postman." Now let's fast forward the clock. 1995, I met my wife, Darla. We got married. 1997, we were expecting our first child, so we moved down to the suburbs, Highlands Ranch. But for almost 10 years, Fred Shea delivered my mail, later her mail as well. And it wasn't until I wrote the book that I ever had a chance to ask Fred the question, why do you do it? See, he does not get paid more. There is no compensation, no incentive for above average performance. He does not come to nice venues like this for meetings. As a matter of fact, for years, I was afraid that if the Postal Service found out what he was doing, they'd make him stop. And I asked Fred, at the end of the book, there are 6 things that motivate Fred. I said, "Fred, why do you do what you do?" He said, "You lay in bed at night and I only worry about one thing." Figure that's pretty good. And there's a lot of things I worry about when I lay in bed at night, look at that little red dot in the smoke detector on the hotel ceiling. Fred said, "The only thing I worry about when I lay in bed at night is, did I waste any of the day I just finished?" Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to summarize everything I know from 20 years being in this business, talking about these principles. Everything I have built my business, my career, my life on can be summarized in this simple idea I will share with you, I share in the book, and that is this: fear nothing but to waste the present moment.
So again, that training video pretty much spoke for itself. So, I mean, we just want to make the best of what we can with customers. So we're going over the greeting. So we do have some greetings that we would prefer you to use, even if you have used other ones in previous places before. So I mean, it's just the basic, "Hi, welcome to Frank Kent. My name is Nicole," for example. So first impressions, one of the most important components in the customer's experience. So you always need to make sure that you are smiling when you're saying it, even if you're having a rough day, even if you have a lot of things going on. So it's all about first impressions. The greeting is the foundation of building relationships with clients, either face-to-face or other communications. So I mean, even if you say it over the phone, that's still your first impression to the customer. So make sure that you always give them your full attention, and most importantly, remember their name. And make sure that you repeat it back again in the conversation too, just so that you don't, just meet them at the very beginning and then don't even acknowledge them by name the rest of the time. So here's some things that ruin a first impression.
"12 things that ruin a first impression immediately." Scientists have proven that we form our first impression about someone within the first 7 seconds of meeting them. and there are definitely certain factors that can instantly make or break it. Are you ready to find out what you should and shouldn't do in order to leave a good first impression on other people? Then keep on watching. But before we start, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications so that you'll always be the first to see all our new videos. Number 12, a weak handshake. This point couldn't be more important for anyone with an upcoming job interview. A flimsy handshake can be a real first impression killer. In his research, psychologist William F. Chaplin found that people with a weak handshake are instantly judged as being shy, anxious, uninterested, or even completely incompetent. That's definitely not how you want others to see you, is it? Another common mistake people make is holding someone's hand for too long. Awkward. If you're going to give the right impression of confidence and capability, remember to grip the other person's hand firmly and for no longer than 2 seconds. That'll put you on the road to success. Number 11, keeping your hands in the wrong position. If you're ever sitting in front of a group of people, whether it be at a business meeting or some conference, you've got to be mindful of where you keep your hands. You can put them on your lap, but never keep them in your pockets because this gives the impression that you're hiding something. If you place your hands on the table, don't squeeze them too tightly or lay them flat with your palms down. This makes people feel like you want to control them. Also, don't forget about the role that culture plays here. While gently folding your hands on the table is totally okay in the Western world, this position is considered rude in Japan and India. Do your research on the customs and culture before you visit another country. This will help you avoid any uncomfortable situations. Number 10, chewing gum. You've got to admit that it's incredibly annoying and distracting when you're talking to someone and they're chomping on a piece of gum. Put this irritating behavior into a formal situation or a first-time encounter with someone and it becomes even more inappropriate. Chewing on gum makes you look immature, self-centered, and somewhat lowbrow. So don't even think about it for a job interview. You want to show your best qualities, not your indifference towards your potential employer. On the flip side, a new study has found that in casual situations, people chewing gum are usually perceived as more friendly and approachable. So be careful with this one. It can either help or hurt you. Number 9, avoiding eye contact. Eye contact has an unbelievably powerful influence on how we view someone. A 2007 study showed that people who maintain eye contact during a conversation are often seen as more confident, attentive, intelligent, and trustworthy. People that avoid eye contact, on the other hand, are viewed as less sincere, more anxious, and even unattractive. It doesn't mean you have to stare people down like a creep. Just don't be afraid to lock eyes with another person from time to time instead of constantly looking around, especially when you meet them for the first time. Number 8, playing with your hair. Statistics show that women touch their hair up to 18 times a day. That's fine if you're fixing it in the mirror, but if you play with your hair while talking to someone, you could be sending them the wrong message. First off, they might think you're flirting with them. But more importantly, a person who toys with their hair during a conversation looks unconfident, anxious, and uncomfortable. Traits that are especially undesirable in official situations. And when playing with your hair becomes excessively repetitive, it can even be a sign of OCD. If you tend to do this when you're nervous, try to kick this habit. It'll do you and your hair a lot of good. Number 7, picking the wrong conversation topics. In order to avoid the dreaded awkward silence, a lot of people are ready to talk about anything with someone they've just met. But you never know what subjects can make someone feel uncomfortable. So it's better to play it safe and avoid the general taboo topics out there. They include health problems, money, religion, politics, or personal problems and complaints. Try not to focus the conversation only on yourself and your issues. That's what therapists are for. It's always a good idea to be attentive to your conversation partner. A good listener is always highly appreciated. Number 6, invading someone's personal space. Just as there are certain lines you shouldn't cross when it comes to conversation topics, the same goes for personal space. Experts put it simply: the space between you and another person depends on your relationship and the situation. There's a certain distance for close friends and family, one for informal conversations and another for formal interactions. When it comes to meeting someone for the first time, keep a minimum of 4 feet between the two of you. If you stand too close to them, you may come off as aggressive. But if you stand too far away, you seem uninterested. Just try to find a happy medium and stick to it. Number 5, making distracting noises. We've all been in a room with someone who constantly taps their foot or fingers or drums their pen on the desk. And if you do any of these things, you're not only annoying everyone, no offense, you're also giving them the wrong impression about you. Tapping can indicate nervousness, irritation, or impatience. People might even think that you're purposely trying to irritate others or draw attention to yourself. And while cracking your knuckles can help relieve stress, it's one of the most annoying sounds according to a survey by the New York Times. It can be nearly impossible to control nervous tapping, but you have to try, especially during important meetings or presentations. Number 4, constantly checking your phone. In the age of social media and 24/7 access to the internet, we've become addicted to our gadgets. In fact, an Android app called Locket collected information and found that the average person checks their phone 110 times a day. Even if you're just checking the time on your screen, it comes off as extremely impolite when you do it during a conversation. The other person gets the impression that they're boring you, and you seem to have better things to do. A study from the University of Essex showed that even just having one's phone on the table next to them reduces a conversation's quality and the participant's engagement. So leave it in your bag or in your pocket, period. Number 3, forgetting people's names. Probably the most embarrassing thing you can do when you see someone is to forget their name. And it's especially humiliating if they remember yours. To steer clear of this awkward situation, get into the habit of immediately repeating someone's name after you've been introduced, like, "Hi Anne, nice to meet you." Justifying this faux pas with excuses about having a bad memory or being terrible with names won't cut it. And when it does happen, just play it cool and try to avoid using phrases where you have to name the other person. That should do the trick. Number 2, being late. While your best friend might kid you that you're always so fashionably late, there's nothing to joke about it when it comes to first impressions and being tardy. Running late to a meeting with people you don't know or have a formal relationship with will shed a guaranteed negative light on you. You'll seem like an unreliable and unorganized person that doesn't respect people enough to value their time. Nothing good about any of that. So if you don't want that mess to be the way people view you, don't be late. It's that easy. Leave your house in enough time so that you don't have to run to your meeting. You'll be all disheveled and unfocused, and that looks bad too. There are tons of online resources to learn better time management skills, so make use of them. Number 1, the wrong attire. Whether we like it or not, people do judge a book by its cover. And remember, they do it within 7 seconds of setting eyes on us. There's not much you can say within this time, which proves that a lot of assumptions people make are based purely off of looks. In fact, statistics claim that 55% of the first impression is based on appearance. What's more, studies show that your height, weight, hair color, and makeup can even influence the size of your paycheck. So if you're meeting someone for the very first time, again, especially in more formal situations, try to be conservative in your choice of clothing. Be polished, and don't use heavy perfume or tons of makeup. You don't have to dress to the nines or anything, just look neat and well put together. What else do you think can ruin a first impression? Tell us in the comment section below. Don't forget to share this video with your friends and family. They need to know how to leave a good impression too. Stay on the bright side of life, and we'll see you soon.
Awesome. So that video had a lot of really good tips that can help you out, especially, while you're starting here and whatnot. So getting down to the actual greeting. So the greeting that we really would like you to use with your customers, whether you're in sales or service or parts, or, you know, even as a technician, sometimes you do need to come out and actually talk to customers about what's going on with their vehicle as well, depending on the location. So, I mean, at some point, you will greet a customer. So, greeting is, welcome to Frank Kent. My name is Nicole, and yours. Nice to meet you. And let's say the customer's name is Bob. So, nice to meet you, Bob. It sure is sunny out, isn't it? And then they would typically agree with yes. And by the way, do you have an appointment with one of our associates, or is this your first visit with us? So that will tell us whether or not the customer has already spoke with somebody before they came in, and set up an appointment, or if this is, you know, their first time with us. So if they have an appointment, you just say, you know, it would be my pleasure to go get Sean for you. If they've been here before, do you remember who you worked with before or in the past? And then no, if this is their first visit, the very first thing you should do is say, here is my business card, hand them your business card, and it would be my pleasure to assist you on this visit. So the reason why it's important that you hand your business card at the very, very beginning is because when you're standing up with a customer and you hand them your business card, where do they typically put it? They'll typically put it in their pocket. And when they get home, you know, when they go to do their laundry, then they'll take the business card out. If you give it to them when they're already sitting down at your desk, they're most likely going to just shove it in somewhere and throw it away later. So, with your business card, you can actually do it that way. We have recently switched all of our business cards to virtual business cards, to where you will actually send it through a text message or through an email. So, I mean, that would be a chance for you to do that at the very beginning as well, where you can send that either at the very beginning or, you know, you can do it later on. I would still recommend doing it at the very beginning because maybe they're just there on their lunch break. You don't know how long they're going to be there for. So if we were to put ourselves in the customer's shoes, we would want a warm and friendly greeting. We would want a prompt greeting. We don't want to stand around and have to wait for someone to come up to us. Especially if we see other people, you know, if we see other sales reps or service advisors talking amongst, you know, their friends and employees and whatnot, we want that person to be very quick. We want that person to have a lot of knowledge, so a knowledgeable associate, and a hospitable environment as well. So warm, friendly, prompt, knowledgeable, and hospitable. So just all of that. Customers' perceptions of the auto industry is they're afraid that they're going to be taken advantage of, that they will be pressured, and that they will deal with a typical car salesperson. So that is where we need to show them that we are different. So key components to a greeting. So make sure that you remember the guest name and repeat it throughout the conversation as well, just because it will make them feel like they're valued and they're cared for and they're not being ignored. Make sure you give a good solid handshake. Acknowledge all the guests in the group. So if there's a husband and a wife and let's say maybe a teenage daughter, make sure you acknowledge all three of them. Offer them a complimentary beverage and or snack. So all of our locations do have this. We at least have drinks for all of our customers. Show them around the dealership and point out where the restrooms are. So don't wait until you have to go grab a manager and then they're wandering around trying to figure out where things are at. To make sure you show them where the bathroom is from the very beginning. The bathroom, the snacks, the service department. Go ahead and, show them anything that they may need to know at the very beginning. Body language is more important than words spoken. So maybe you were prompt in your greeting, but you kind of have a chip on your shoulder. Like, let's say you have some personal things going on outside of work. You're just kind of like, welcome to Frank Kent. How can I help you? I mean, you were quick, but customer can pick up on that really fast. They can pick up, whether, you're just not happy to be there today. And if you're not happy to be there, I mean, just step away for a second, put yourself together and go back to, being the happy, chipper, helpful person that the customer's expecting. And you only get 3 seconds to make a great impression. So just make sure that whenever you do greet that person, you're on your A game. You were ready to go. You mean business. Just make sure that you're ready. So typically we would practice our greetings. Like I said, now we're doing everything virtually, but we would typically practice our greetings with everybody who's in the room, where we would just kind of go back and forth. So make sure that on your own you do practice this. In your dealerships, your managers will have you practice this. I know especially in sales, and I'm sure in service they probably have you practice this as well to make sure that you do know how to properly greet a customer. Every dealership may be a little bit different, but it's pretty much along the lines of what we just went over. And then just make sure that you're always presentable at all times. You're always put together. You're always ready to go. And always thank a guest for coming in, even when they're leaving, even if they were only there for 10 minutes just to come look at the car. Maybe they didn't like what they saw and they're leaving. So make sure you also walk them to the doors. So, you walk them to parts, to service department, bathroom or finance. And don't just point. Make sure you actually show them, you walk them, to where the bathroom is, for example. Like I know at our Cadillac dealership, at our country dealership, at least with those two, they're not right there in the very front of the showroom, so you will have to actually walk them. NS, if they are on the, whichever side they're on, it's pretty easy to find those, but still walk them to it just so that they know where it's at. And make sure that you always interact with everybody that is within 10 feet of you. So whether or not, it's a service customer who came up to the sales floor that's wandering around, maybe it's a sales customer that came to the service side of things, maybe they just want to take a look at the cars back there that are being serviced on. Make sure you always greet them. And the last portion of this part, so this is an example of not so extraordinary service. So this is a Badger car salesman from Johnson Automotive. If you haven't seen these videos, these are pretty incredible, funny videos, and there is a lot of them. So this is one example. Or a few.
So what do you say? Let's go inside and make us a deal.
Well, can I take on a test drive first?
All right, I'll go get the keys. I don't want to spend all day doing this, I got a lot of cars to sell. Let's go back and do a deal.
Well, can I take it on the highway first?
Hey, if this is going to be a joyride, I got paying customers back there on the lot.
Tired of being badgered? Come to any Johnson Automotive dealership. Great deals, great service, no badgers.
Hey, buddy, how about us making us a deal?
Yeah, I like her a lot. How much wiggle room we got on the price?
Wiggle room? I'll show you wiggle room. Wiggle, wiggle, whoa. Wiggle, wiggle, whoa. Wiggle, wiggle, ooh, wah, ooh. Wiggle, wiggle, wah. Wiggle, wiggle, woo. How's that? Huh? We got us a deal going. Wiggle, wiggle, whoa. Wiggle, wiggle, whoa. Wiggle, wiggle.
Tired of being badgered? Come to any Johnson Automotive dealership. Great deals, great service, no badgers.
Yep, you're gonna look good in that car. So we ready to sign this deal?
Well, we really love the car.
Yeah, we'd love it. It's just $340 is as high as we can go a month.
You're kidding me, right? All the paperwork I had to do, I looked at your credit report. You got a lot of money, so then let's do the deal.
Tired of being badgered? Come to any Johnson Automotive dealership. Great deals, great service, no badgers.
Excuse me.
Don't talk to me, I'm on my popcorn break.
Do you know what time my car's gonna be ready?
Do you see this suit I'm wearing? I don't fix cars, I sell cars.
Well, they've been here over 3 hours and
Do I look like I care? I don't.
Tired of being badgered? Come to any Johnson Automotive dealership. Great deals, great service, no badgers.
Can I help you, ma'am?
Yeah, I'm interested in this SUV.
As soon as your husband gets here, I'll be more than happy to show you all the features.
Actually, it's for me.
Well, then no need looking under the hood. Here's where the cup holders are, and there's the rear view mirror. That's where you can put on your makeup. And this is the steering wheel here. It's what you use to drive with. Hey, honey, come on back here.
Tired of being badgered? Come to any Johnson Automotive dealership. Great deals, great service, no badgers.
So we ready to make a deal?
We like it. We just like to take some time to think about it. Get back to you tomorrow.
Now, suit yourself. Probably won't be here tomorrow. I got another couple interested in it.
Oh, we'll take our chances.
They won't be here.
Okay, we'll see what happens.
Well, it'll be gone.
We're just gonna wait, okay?
Better buy it tonight before I sell it right from under you.
Tired of being badgered? Come to any Johnson Automotive dealership. Great deals, great service, no badgers.
All right, so make sure that you tune in to the very next training so that we can go over the next portion. The next portion has to do with more so on how to use our phone system and then things that we want you to do when you do talk to people over the phone as well. So even whether you're, a technician or not, you will have to answer some phone calls every now and then. So just tune into that. There will be a portion of the quiz on that one as well.